Welcome back to The Explainer. You've probably heard these terms flying around, right? Generative AI, AI agents, agentic AI. But what really is the difference? Well, today we're going to cut right through all that noise and make it super clear. This is one of the most important things to get your head around in tech right now. Okay, let's kick things off with a simple analogy. Imagine you have three different kinds of helpers. First, you've got a brilliant, creative writer. Next, a super efficient task doer who just gets things done. And finally, a full-on project manager who can see the big picture and run the whole show. Just hang on to those three roles because they are the perfect way to understand the AI we're about to break down. Let's start with the first one. All right, first up, we have the foundation, the one you've definitely played with, generative AI. This is our creative writer. So its whole job, its entire purpose is to create. It's not just a copy machine, it soaks up a mind-boggling amount of information, figures out the deep patterns, the rhythm of a story, the rules of a programming language, the style of an artist, and then it creates something totally new. You ask it for a story about a cat who travels through space, and it doesn't just find one, it writes one, right then and there. And that's the magic, right? Yeah, this is a great way to think about it. But we're not just talking about predicting the next word in a text message. This thing is predicting the next logical piece of the puzzle on a massive scale. It's using all those patterns it learned to spin up entire paragraphs, write complex code, or even generate the millions of pixels that make up a stunning photorealistic image. So, how does this brain actually work? Well, it all starts with what's called a large language model, or LLM for short. It's been trained on a library of text and images that's almost too big to imagine. It uses this special thing called a transformer architecture to understand context and relationships, so it gets that king goes with queen, just like man goes with woman. From there, it's all a game of probability. It just keeps predicting the most likely next word or the most likely next pixel over and over again. And that's how it builds something that feels so creative and, human. Okay, but what happens when you give that creative brain some hands and some tools? This is where things get really practical. So let's level up and see how this all built on itself. So, right at the core of an AI agent, you've got the exact same powerful language model we were just talking about. It still has that incredible ability to understand what you're asking and to reason about it. The brain is kind of the same, but what it does with that brain, totally different. And this is the part that changes everything. Now that brain can actually reach out and interact with the real world. It can plug into a flight booking system, it can grab live data from a stock market feed, or it can use a simple calculator. These tools are like giving the brain a whole toolkit to get the job done. Okay, but to be useful, an agent has to remember what you told it to do, right? This short-term memory is like its notepad. It lets it keep track of all the important details while it's working on a single task. So when you say, book me a flight, it remembers your destination, your dates, and your budget for that entire conversation. So here's the bottom line. An AI agent doesn't just create stuff for you. It actually does stuff for you. It doesn't just write a piece of code, it can run that code. It doesn't just suggest a flight, it can go ahead and book the flight. It's a doer. All right, so we've got the writer and we've got the doer. But what happens when the job is way bigger? When you need someone to manage a whole project with lots of steps and deal with problems along the way? Well, that's where agentic AI steps onto the scene. We're not just talking about a single doer following one command anymore. An agentic AI is a system that truly acts like a project manager. You give it a huge goal, like, hey, plan my entire business trip to Tokyo, and it will break that down into a whole plan with smaller steps. Then it can delegate those tasks, booking the flight, finding the hotel, setting up meetings, to other, more specialized agents. It's the one coordinating everything to make sure the final goal is met. So if we peek under the hood here, you can see this is a way more complex beast. You still got that LLM brain for reasoning, but, and this is key, there's a planner module. That's the real project manager, the one calling the shots. It's got long-term memory, so it actually learns from past projects and doesn't make the same mistake twice. And see that little circular arrow? That's the feedback loop. If something goes wrong, like a flight is sold out, the system doesn't just crash. It gets that feedback and the planner adapts its strategy. It'll try a different airline or maybe a different day. It's autonomous. Okay, so we've met our three assistants, the writer, the doer, and the project manager. Now, let's put them side by side to make the differences totally obvious. And this kitchen analogy, it just perfectly nails the difference in scope, doesn't it? The AI agent is your specialist. It's the smart oven. It's amazing at its one job. But the agentic AI? That's the manager of the entire kitchen. It's the one that gets all the different specialist tools working together to pull off a much bigger, much smarter result. This table really lays it all out. Just follow along from left to right and you see this clear evolution. The core model gets way more complex. The memory goes from basically zero to short-term all the way to long-term. And the autonomy, the ability to act on its own, just skyrockets. You see the role grow from a simple content creator to a task doer, and finally to a true workflow orchestrator. Okay, so this isn't all just theory, right? This progression from creator to doer to orchestrator, it's actually happening out there in the real world right now. Let's look at a few examples. First up, generative AI. You're seeing it pop up as this tireless creative assistant. Imagine a retailer like Belk needing thousands of unique product descriptions for their website. Instead of hiring an army of writers, they just automate it. Or think about a firm like Morgan Stanley, instantly summarizing super dense financial reports for their analysts. It's all about scaling up creativity and understanding. Then you've got AI agents, and these are your reliable doers that automate specific jobs. This could be a support bot on a website that can actually access your order info to answer your question, hey, where's my package? Or it could be something like Zapier, which automatically grabs an invoice from your email and copies all the details into a spreadsheet for you. It's about getting rid of that boring manual work. And finally, agentic AI. This is where we're really starting to see true digital managers emerge. Think about Shopify's Sidekick. An online store owner can just say, sales for blue sweaters are down, launch a marketing campaign. And the system could analyze the data, figure out who to target, draft the ads, set a budget, and launch the campaign on its own. It's not just doing a task, it's managing a whole project. So, if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's this simple progression. AI started as a creator, then it evolved into a doer, and now it's becoming an orchestrator, from creating content to executing tasks to managing entire workflows. You can see how each level just builds on the one before it, moving towards more and more reasoning, more and more autonomy. It's a seriously powerful evolution that's changing everything about how we work. And it really leaves us with a huge, fascinating question to think about, doesn't it? As AI takes on the role of the ultimate project manager, what does that make our new role?